Good morning, sorry friends. It's the Midi Man coming at you again from Walker's Music. Yet another word for the day. Wednesday morning edition, and we give God all the praise and honor. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for each and every one of you. Cyber friend, you know who you are. You're looking at my title of my video this morning. Very interesting. It said, how are we? And remember I said we. How are we representing Jesus? And that's a good question. And I wanted to make certain that I let everybody knew that I wasn't picking on anybody. I said all of us. How are we representing Jesus? You know, many times we in a conversation from day to day, people, we all talk about signs of the end. This is a sign of the time. This is a sign. Earthquake, it's a sign of the end. All the violence going on. I even made that statement myself about all this killing. I believe it's a judgment call that God has got this nation going up under right now. It's a form of judgment. But nevertheless, we're in the last days, we say. Well, there's another thing that I don't think people realize. That's another sign of being in the last days. And that is offense. Right there in chapter 24, Matthew, just like the other stuff, it's plain as day. Jesus said many will be offended. You know, people, there are so many people that is very, very more easily offended than others. And we understand that. We know that because there are various gifts. People have different levels of strengths and weaknesses, so we understand that. And now I'm going to speak personal now for just a little bit. I'm going to talk about Midi Man. Because, see, I can talk about me better than anybody. I know what's in me. I know what I'm weak at, according to my little vast knowledge. And I know where I'm kind of strong at. So I'm going to speak to Midi Man. When it comes to offense, you see, when you learn better, you ought to do better. And we got a lot of people that's how come I said we got to be careful how we represent Christ. Many of us, we are so easy to become offended, especially, I mean, with my travels. I've been in the military. I've been to 2 colleges and everything, military schools and whatnot. And I done had to deal with a whole vast array of different people. A lot of leaders that was over me, and a lot of teachers, and I had to learn from. And the one thing that I noticed that you got to deal with this here offense, that you cannot take offense at every little old bit of thing. Even into the local church. People get offended at the pastor for trying to teach you and lead you into all truth. In other words, doing the work of a minister or whatever. And if they are telling you something for your good and you take offense, that's not too bright. But we got many people that you got to just walk on cotton. You got to walk on cotton around them because you're afraid if you say this, they so easy to be offended. You say that, they get all out of whack. And sometimes you don't even know what you've done. You got to get away from that. Best thing to do for those type of people is just really just get them out of your circle. You know, it's just best for you not even try to have anything to do with them people, but regardless of who they might be. Because why you be vexed in your spirit day and night, sitting around wondering? I mean, you just don't have that time. You don't have that kind of energy to worry about everybody that's going to take offense at something that you might say. Regardless of whether or not, I'm not saying malicious stuff. When people are just saying, I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about in an everyday conversation like thing, ring. And you just got to be so particular about walking on cotton around certain people because you're afraid that they're going to take offense. That it ain't nothing worth that. No relationship is worth that. I don't care who it's with. And I'm just being honest with you. We just say, I mean, me as a minister of music, when I teach the choir, if I listen objectively, and if they're not singing correctly, and if I know how to fix it, I'm going to tell them. Well, now, if you got somebody in a choir that you can't tell whether you're singing a little flat or a little sharp or whatnot, and then you can't tell them because you're afraid they're gonna get out, gonna get out the choir. Well, you know what? It might be best if they did get out. Then maybe you'll have better choir. I mean, really, when you can't, it's a dangerous person that you cannot correct. People should be able to correct you and you not take offense. But that's what Jesus said it was going to be in the end time, people. That's a sign of the end time, too. So what kind of light, what kind of representation are we being to Christ? We telling everybody we such a Christian and everything, but at every little whim, we get offended at every little old bit of thing somebody say to you. You show the bad representative of Christ. Jesus did not do that. And we dare not judge anybody, but we need to say if we know better, we ought to do better. In other words, just like it was in Sunday school Sunday, this past Sunday, when I taught Sunday school for our regular Sunday school teacher, Sister Joyner. And I told him, it's the way that the way you react, you don't have to react to it. See, in other words, Jesus told us not to act, not to respond to a thing the way the devil would want you to respond. The devil sits back and laughs at us, I believe. Well, we so easily get tripped up. But if we say that we know the Lord and love the Lord, and we are being led by the Spirit, then we are not going to get offended and get mad at every little old bit of thing. We're not going to do that, people. No. Because everything a person say to you, it may not be the way it sounds like to you. They may not mean anything about it. They might be just trying to help you. They might be. Now, I understand that there are people that will do malicious stuff now. I realize that. But I know that, and I'm taking my own life experience, that I've had many instructors from the military as well as college and everything, and I'm glad that they taught me what I was doing wrong and showed me the right way to go. I'm glad. I did not take offense, and therefore I know what I know today because of that. And I mean, I'm not trying to make myself be bigger than I am. No. I thank God for the lessons learned. But when you know better, you ought to do better. That's just automatically. So how we represent Christ? Well, you are representing Christ with a bad light. You need your light bulb changed. Because every time somebody says something to you, you get all out of whack and get offensive, you take offense. Nobody can tell you anything because they're afraid that well, you know what, that's a bad way to live. And if you're that type of person that everybody got to walk on cotton around you, you got a you need an attitude adjustment. I'm just going to tell you straight to your face, you need an attitude adjustment. Because like I said, other people have feelings too. In other words, in other words, when you, especially when you are doing people to a certain way, treating them a certain way, when they don't really even know what time it is, they don't even know what happened, did they offend you? In other words, people, it's amazing, it's amazing. But at any rate, we thank God. I got a good pastor, and Pastor Donnie Green, and senior Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and his wife. I always call her First Lady. That's what I call her, First Lady. But Sister Janice, and that's her name. But I really do. I care for them both, and I think they're great leaders for our church. And matter of fact, I ain't no think in it. I know they are. But see, people want to be told. People want to be spoon-fed. They don't want the truth. But we are just glad, and I'm glad that I know that I have learned a lot from Pastor Green. He has told me some things and gave me some sound advice that I have taken, and I found out that it was the best advice I could have followed. I could have followed that, and it got me over another hurdle. Oh yeah, I got many hurdles that I jump every month, believe it, every week. But at least I'm jumping the hurdles. And we're going to continue to do that, and I hope that and pray that thing will get even greater and greater. And I'm praying for my church. I'm praying for my church, and I'm praying for the pastor and his wife to keep them safe as they travel up and down that dangerous highway. And people remember, what we do, we reflect and we present Jesus by the way we live our lives. And if we say we love each other, Jesus said, "Love. This is the sign that you're gonna know my disciples by the love they're gonna have for each other." And you know what? You don't love people when you call yourself all bold up and down. You ain't got nothing. Y'all know Jesus didn't tell us to do that. But you know what? Those people that left Jesus, read John 6:66, chapter 6, verse 66, 666. It's something to that. Those people left Jesus because the teaching got hard and they never followed him no more. But I never see nowhere in that scripture where Jesus followed him and ran behind him. Jesus didn't lick nobody. Jesus didn't lick people. And neither should you. So in other words, when people got a problem and with you telling them the truth or whatever it might be, when you speaking the truth, whether it be in the Bible study, and I didn't have my Bible study on last night with Blog Talk Radio, and some things, like I say, I have that prerogative, that's my show, and if I have to counsel, I just have to counsel. I don't have to ask anybody permission to do that. But I always go and send out emails. So if you didn't get your email, I'm sorry, but I sent one out. But what I'm saying is, when we do things, we represent Christ. In other words, all this offense and stuff, Jesus said would come. But the one thing about it, Jesus never ran behind those people that left him. No, he didn't. He let them win. So in other words, anybody that's supposed to be involved with something you're dealing with, I had a group. I had to let it go. I had to let it go. But guess what? I'm not losing any sleep over it. Just let it go. In other words, because there's something better that God got in the path. All I got to do is wait on it. Just keep following my path. See, when you know that you haven't done anything and you know you're trying to walk the narrow way, to walk upright before Christ, let people have their problem by themselves. And you go on. You go on because God going to bless you. Period. This is the middle man saying whatever you get into, if God is not in it, get out of it. It's going to come to nothing. To the next video, next Bible study, whichever comes first. Peace and goodbye.